In this video I'm going to examine the pros and cons of electric winch handles, the several alternatives and what I eventually chose for Zephyr IV. Sadly, as I get older, and despite all my efforts, I am losing strength in my arms, and winching in Zephyr IV's Genoa in a breeze can be exhausting. It's nearly as big as the main. So I've been looking at things to help. Larger sheet winches with greater diameter and higher reduction gear could help. Fitting electric winches would be nice. Both of these options are expensive, around £2,000 per side for the larger winches and £3,000 to £5,000 per side for the electric winches with all the wiring involved. Thinking about all that, a powered winch handle could be a very cost-effective solution. No changes to the winches, and one handle can be used on any of the 4 winches on Zephyr IV. But then, which winch handle? At first glance, the electric drill with its adapter, the winch bit, is the easiest option. Most of us have a drill. Clip in the winch bit and Bob's your uncle. However, there are a few problems. The average do-it-yourself drill produces about 15 to 50 Newton meters of torque. You need quite a bit more than that to winch in a big Genoa, around 90 to 110 Newton meters. To control this amount of torque, you need a decent lever, the distance from the centre of the chuck to the handle at the end. This drill has 15 centimetres, about 6 inches. A standard winch handle would be 10 inches, so compared to that it's a bit short. On paper, the best drill to use would be the Milwaukee M18 Fuel, right-angled. It looks a lot like a winch handle and is quite long from chuck to handle, in excess of 10 inches. And it produces a good amount of torque, 120 Newton meters maximum. However, that torque is produced at quite high RPM. In low gear, its max RPM is 500. Manually winching will be around 80 revs a minute fast, and under high load maybe go as low as 5 or 10 RPM to get those last few inches in on the sheet. Even though this drill has a soft start, it's not very subtle and will tend to snatch when applied under extreme load. It's designed to turn a drill bit a few millimeters in diameter at several hundreds of RPM, not turn a winch at less than 50 RPM under high load. As you can see, trying to turn a winch under load with this drill is not easy. I can't imagine trying to do that bashing to windward. Lastly, electric drills aren't waterproof, and there's no way to lock the drill into the top of the winch like a normal winch handle. The next handle I looked at is the WinchRite, and this has been around for 10 years or more and has had several upgrades. It's self-contained with an internal battery, light in weight, 6.2 pounds or 2.8 kilograms. You just drop it on the winch, squeeze the switch in the handle and away it goes. The harder you squeeze, the faster it goes. If using a 2-speed winch, you can change the direction using this switch. You can use it on any winch, say to raise the main or sheet in the Genoa. The battery lasts well and is easy to recharge using an AC charger or trickle charging from your boat's 12-volt supply. The top of the case is rubber covered, so if you lay it on the deck it won't slip. It comes in a sturdy carrying case that also holds the charger and leads, and there is now a hod to hold it securely when sailing. It's waterproof and should survive a wave over it. It produces over 110 Newton meters with a maximum rotational speed of 130 revs per minute. Unfortunately, it won't lock onto the winch, and WinchRite recommend a safety lanyard. Price in the UK is now about £750. I was very close to buying one of these, but then found out about the eWincher. First, let me tell you that the eWincher is the most expensive option, double the price of the WinchRite, so it needs to be good to justify that. As you can see, it looks like a winch handle that's had too many pies, a bit oversized. It weighs slightly less than the WinchRite though, at 2.2 kilograms or 4.85 pounds, but it's very strongly built. It will actually work as a winch handle and locks onto the winch like a basic winch handle, so you don't have to worry about it falling off and going overboard. The battery is detachable, so if you run out of power you can fit another battery and continue while the exhausted battery is charged. There are numerous promotional videos on the web showing how much more powerful and controllable it was under heavy loads. And when I found a reduced offer price, well, I took the plunge, and shortly after it arrived on board. This is an e-wincher, an electric winch handle. And it's just arrived and we're going to unpack it and you can see what you get for your money. It's a nice case, nicely made, and there it all is. I'll take that out for a minute. This is the actual winch handle, which as you can see is quite a reasonable chunky thing. And here's the battery, which just simply slots on like so, and there you are, it's working. The big asset for me with this was that it's you can use it as a winch handle even if the electricity disappears, and also when you switch it on you push this little lever here and you then got a locking mechanism. Whoops. You've then got a locking mechanism here, so it will lock into a winch. When you put it on the winch, you just release it, and you can't get it off until you lift the button. So you can leave it on a winch without any fear of it falling off. To drive it, there's a little button here on the handle, and you push that, and away it goes. And the harder you push it, the faster it goes. So it's adjustable speed. If you want to go in the other direction, there's a little button up here which you push. And push it and it goes in the other direction. So when you've got a 2-speed winch, you can winch it in as far as you can like you do with an ordinary handle, and then when it becomes too much, push this little button and it changes. So there's a little light on here which changes to show you which direction you're going. It goes from green for right hand and purpley for left hand. So it's a good chunky bit of stuff. Had a bit of a play with it and it seems to work quite well. We'll show you it working in a little while. You can't switch it off. You can disconnect the battery, but you can't actually physically switch it off, which is a bit of a surprise. But it switches off by itself eventually. And they reckon that the battery will last you a whole day, sort of hoisting the mainsail 2 or 3 times and winching the Genoa in probably 30 times, so more than enough. Notice I started winching in fast mode, and when the handle started to struggle I just moved it through 180 degrees and it switched direction, and we then winched with low speed and high torque. So very happy with that. The eWincher has had lots of use during the season and has performed perfectly. Couldn't be better, except for one thing. The difficulty I have with it is charging. I pop that there. When I first saw the website and the descriptions, then it looks like you literally had a charger, which is this gadget, and it had a couple of wires coming out of it, a red one and a black one, and you plugged them into the red and black one there, and they indicated that you could charge it from 12 volts, which I thought, well, that's great, isn't it? Because I haven't always got mains. But the reality is, when you actually get it, they've changed things. Not the least of which, I suppose, because of the possibility of people plugging the black one in the red hole and the red one in the black hole and destroying the charger and the battery, they've now made this hod, which you can slide the battery onto and it connects. And then there's a socket here to put the volts, which come from this gadget here. So that goes in the back there, and this is run from 240 volts. It actually says 100 to 240 volts, like a lot of these things do nowadays. And in order to provide that 240 volts, they give you a plug-in. It plugs into a cigar lighter, an inverter, which is a 150 watt inverter. And then they give you a lead. Hope you're following this. They give you a lead which plugs into there. It's a continental lead, and that then plugs into this, and away you go. It charges the battery. So look at all this lot. Look at all this lot. This is not a good idea, I don't think, anyway. The other problem I have is that this inverter, when you plug it in the 12 volt cigar lighter, it falls out. Fortunately, I've got a bit of wire that happens to go past and I can tuck it behind there, but it's a bit of a problem. Coupled to which, if you want to charge it from your 240 volt mains on the boat, which I've got, and I suppose most people have got nowadays, with a square pin 13 amp socket, you're stuffed, you can't do it. But it just so happens that I've found a lead at home. These are relatively common, so I can plug that in there and plug this into my 240 volts, so I can get round it that way. But it's it needs rethinking, I think. That's my only criticism of it. This charger ought to be built into this hod. Just pull that back out again. It ought to be built into that, so that you've not got this lead and all this sort of stuff. It would be much better. It would be much better. So there you go. An eWincher. Well, I've had me little moan. Maybe the people who make the eWincher will respond. I'd be happy to evaluate an improved version in the future. Everything else is fantastic. Lastly, the price. Someone commented on an earlier video that they'd had bought a complete boat for the price of the eWincher. Well, so have I in the past, but it wasn't a 35 footer with a great big Genoa.